This year is being dedicated L'ilui Nishmas Maras Racholea B'Reb Chaim Tzvi. We know that Tanakh is divided up into three sections: Torah, Nevi'im, and Ksuvim. Part of Nevi'im is a section called Treyasar, which is translated as the 12 prophets, which are small nevuahs that were put together into one sefer of Treyasar. The first of this is Hosea. The last parak of Hosea is the beginning of the Haftarah for Shabbos Shuvah. And in fact, people make a mistake by saying, why is it called Shabbos Shuvah, not Shabbos Tishuvah? And it's because of the beginning of the Haftarah is Shuvah Yisrael. And therefore the name of the Shabbos, as we have by Shabbos Nachamu and by other Shabbases, comes from the Haftarah, and hence the Shabbos is called Shabbos Shuvah. Hosea Perik Yudalid, which is the last Perik in Hosea, the pasuk before where the Haftarah begins, gives us a bit of historical background. We'll just begin with that pasuk very briefly for the historical perspective. Te'asham shomron ki marata beloheha, b'cherev yipolu ololehem yirtashu, v'hariotav yivkau. So it describes how Shomron is going to be utterly destroyed. Hosea is at the time before the Galus of Shomron, of the 10 tribes, and this is the prophecy which is throughout his nevuah, is describing the sins of Shomron, and ultimately they're going to be vanquished. And this describes the Churban in very, very dramatic terms. Te'asham Shomron. Shomron is going to be completely shmama. It's going to be completely desolate. Why? Because they have rebelled against Hashem. And the sword, they're going to fall. The young people are going to be split open. The pregnant women are going to be as well, swords put through them. They'll be speared. It's a very, very graphic prophecy describing the downfall of Shomron. And then we begin the Haftarah of Shabbos Shuvah. Shabbos Shuvah's Haftarah is from a number of sections in Treyasar. I'd like just to focus on the one, Amir Hashem, from Hosea. It begins, Pasuk Beis, Shuvah Yisrael Hashem Elokecha, Ki Kashalta Bavonecha. Very, very famous Pasuk, very beautiful Pasuk. I'd like to translate the Pasuk, raise a number of questions, and try to be able to create not only a literary analysis of the Pasuk based on some of the Mefarshim, but try to be able to extrapolate what ideas we can learn from this Pasuk for our lives, particularly as a guiding force, as a guiding light in this period of Elul and Aseret Yemei Tshuva of how we can better ourselves. So Shuvah Yisrael is a call, Shuvah, return Yisrael, and return ad Hashem Elokecha, until Hashem your God. Why? Ki kashalta bavonecha, because you have stumbled in your sin. So if we analyze this for a number of moments, we know that Shuvah Yisrael, we have to ask ourselves, is Yisrael a reference to the 10 tribes or a reference to the 2 tribes? We know after that Shlomo HaMelech dies, Rechavam, his son, becomes king over Yehuda and Binyamin, and Yeravam becomes king over the 10 tribes, which is called Malchus Yisrael, Malchus Yosef. And after Yeravam, other kings take over. And there's really 2 different Malchios. There's the 10 tribes and the 2 tribes. And we know the Nevi'im either speak to one or the other, or sometimes some Nevi'im speak to both. So Shuvah Yisrael, to whom is this a reference to? Next we have to analyze the phrase Ad Hashem Elokecha. Ad is a connotation until. If we take a peek at the next pasuk, Pasuk Gimel, Chuy machem dvarim v'shuvu el Hashem, imru elav kol tisavon v'kach tov v'neshama parim svatenu. So in Pasuk Gimel we have El Hashem, to Hashem. So the obvious question we have to ask ourselves is, if we have 2 psukim describing the tshuva process, what is the difference between Ad Hashem, which would seem to be until Hashem, and El Hashem, which is mamish, you're reaching Hashem? What's the difference between Ad and El, and how do we understand the ramifications for us? Ki kashalta bavonecha. This is a very fascinating insight. Avon, there are many different words used for sin. There's chait, avon, pesha. While chait is often described as a sin we've done b'shogeg, by accident, avon is a sin we've done b'mesid, on purpose. Kashalta means to stumble. And stumbling usually has the connotation of, I've done it by accident. It's like you trip over somebody, say, I'm so sorry. I tripped. I didn't mean to, step on your toe. So we find almost a contradiction. If you're a kashalta, if you are stumbling, so that seems to be accidental. And yet avon is on purpose. So how do I reconcile ki kashalta bavonecha, that I've stumbled on purpose? Either I've done it by accident or I've done it on purpose. How do we understand these two phrases together? So those are the questions that we will Mirth Hashem struggle with in understanding this pasuk. Let's begin with Shuva Yisrael, to whom is this a reference to? So this we'll see is a machloka between Rashi and Mitzudas Stavi. And it's not only machloka between them, but technically it really is a machloka hashkafically. Rashi says the following: Shuva Yisrael, Shebe Eretz Yehuda.